said, let's reschedule for you to come and explain to Parliament. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with raising it, but also we will give you the explanation. Now, statutory payments, especially to the health insurance, we haven't even approved the formula, so the payment cannot be effected. We haven't approved it, so Parliament hasn't approved the payment, so the finance minister cannot pay when Parliament hasn't approved the payment. So it's this week that we're hoping the Parliament will approve the payment, and then the finance minister will make the payment. Common fund, there's a change in government. The assemblies are being reconstituted. The leadership is being appointed. I'm sure you're all media people who have been covering the various voting that is taking place in the various district assemblies. If you had sent the money, who will oversee the money? Who is going to spend the money? The money is going to be spent by the assemblies, and the assemblies are not in existence. So even though we approved the formula, the finance minister was holding the money and waiting. When we actually have the assemblies in place, and the MCEs and the DCEs and the mayors in place, then he will release the funds to them. Now that a majority of the MCEs and the DCEs are in place, I can actually show you a cabinet approval of the distribution of the funds as approved by, Parliament. And also, we took a decision that whilst we are sending the funds to the assemblies, we need to guide the utilization of the funds, because the president has had to fight at the central level to restrain everybody from touching the money at the central level. In the past, hardly anything used to move from the center to the districts. But we took a policy decision that not less than 80% of the money must hit the accounts of the district assemblies, the metropolitan assemblies, and the municipal assemblies. And very soon you will hear the figures that are actually getting to the assemblies. They are colossal sums of money. Last night, the finance minister sent me a copy of the actual amounts that are going to the assemblies. And if you compare them with the actual amounts that used to get to the assemblies when my sister, my sweetheart's government was in power, you will see that there were paltry sums. This is huge amount of money that will be going to the assemblies. Indeed, some members of parliament might even be wondering if they shouldn't have been district chief executives to be managing and supervising such huge projects in the assemblies. But we want to make sure that when the resources go to the assemblies, they are actually applied to deal with important matters at the assemblies. So for instance, you can't spend more than, let's say, 5% of what we are sending to you for administration. I hope you understand. So we expect the rest of the money, most of it should go into capital expenditure, which is, building, schools, building health facilities, fixing water projects, providing water in the communities, doing the roads, and etc. So those are the kind of guidelines to deal with sanitation issues and etc. This is very elaborate. I have it. I just, I'm still having discussions with the finance minister whether he would like to come to Parliament and read the guidelines, or I should put them out there. But the guidelines are there. The money has been transferred, and we will want to have, and then also we are going to up the responsibility of parliamentarians to monitor the utilization and report, because the parliamentarians are also being given a budget to monitor the utilization. I'm sure it came up recently, and then people were wondering why parliamentarians should be given a share of the fund for monitoring. We need to monitor, because if you give somebody, hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis to do projects, and then you don't assign somebody to monitor and report to you on what that person is doing, people will just misapply the funds, and we'll just be replacing central government wastage with local government waste and abuse. This government and President John Dramani Mahama doesn't want that to happen. So the payments will be made. Now, contracts and etc. payments, we came, and then we realized that, yes, a lot of projects awarded. Some important, others just motivated by political considerations, not really priorities. Some, the prices cannot just be justified. And so if you just start throwing money at those projects, some were awarded without recourse to whether they had even been budgeted for in all the budgets that we have approved in this parliament. So the finance minister had to sit down and sift through all these and have it audited so that he can decide which ones to pay. And so far, the audit process is going on well, and I want to assure you that the payments will take place very, 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 very soon. Yeah, so those are the issues, and she's raised them, we're responding to them. As for the judiciary and what is happening in the judiciary, I think that as a coordinate branch of government, we should be mindful the extent to which we go interfering in the work of other branches of government. I am a lawyer by training. I pay attention to the process. So far, I have not heard anybody specifically say that this part of the process is not provided for in the Constitution. I have not seen anyone. I have listened to all the discussions. Not one single, indication that this step in the process. People are throwing innuendos. People are speculating. Oh, why is it that these lawyers who are known to be lawyers who have ever represented X, Y, Z are the ones who are also representing the people that somebody decides to choose as lawyers? It's not my business. Are you getting the situation? My business is whether or not the process is respected. Are you getting the situation? Now, somebody says, I want the hearing to be held in public. I want a transparent process. Did the Constitution say a transparent process? Did the Constitution say a process in camera? If the Constitution said a process in camera, when you are being vetted in this parliament and you are being appointed as a Chief Justice, why didn't you say that I am accepting the job subject to me not accepting the procedure for removing me? If you had told us at that time, would we have appointed you as Chief Justice? It comes as a package. The Constitution creates the office of Chief Justice, and the same Constitution creates the procedure by which the Chief Justice should be removed. If you accept the office, you must accept the procedure by which you are going to be removed. It's a package. You cannot accept to enjoy the perks of the office of Chief Justice, and then the procedure by which you will be removed, you say that you not accept that one. Where were you when you were being appointed Chief Justice? So sometimes I don't even understand where people are coming from. So let's be clear when we are communicating to the public. The president has not engaged in one single wrongdoing in this whole process. The petitions were not sent. Some of the petitions didn't even go now. Some of the petitions were sent by the petitioners even when the previous president was there, and we are aware. So let's not misrepresent things to the public. As for the number of appointments, we've been debating this for God knows how long, whether we should have a ceiling to the membership of the Supreme Court or not. At one time or the other, people get convinced about one argument or the other. Some people say, let's behave like the US where we have a cap, just 7. Others say the US Supreme Court, its functions are not the same as your Supreme Court. The US Supreme Court focuses really on constitutional matters. They are not obliged to deal with all appeals, but here appeals go to the Supreme Court as of right. So if there are 1,000 appeals, the Supreme Court can say, no, we won't take the 1,000 appeals. In the US, if there are 1,000 appeals, the Supreme Court can say, to hell with 999 of your appeals. We will deal with only one because it is only that one that we think has relevance when it comes to constitutional jurisprudence. And that's the only one we'll deal with this year. Supreme Court of the US can do that. But in Ghana, the Supreme Court has to deal with all the 1,000 appeals because they come as of right. So people have argued that you need a large force there. Now the question is whether the economy can support. For me, that should always be the question. When you are vetting, you should be asking questions about, can the economy support that number? If the economy can support it, why not? And even then, before we assumed office, we're told about the need to appoint judges because a lot of the judges are retiring, if you recall. And we looked at it, and we said at that time, I recall, I'm a member of the appointments committee. I was a member of the appointments committee at that time. And our position was that the sitting president had had enough opportunities to appoint people to the Supreme Court. And the vacancies that were occurring, he should allow for the next president to also be given an opportunity to fill in those vacancies. In fact, at that time, either one had actually retired and some were yet to retire, and the president had made nominations in anticipation of those retiring. Then we said, wait, why don't you wait till they actually retire, and why don't you allow whoever becomes the next president to also have an opportunity to fill in those vacancies, because you filled in so many vacancies. So allow others to also have an opportunity to fill in vacancies. God, being who he is, has done what he thinks fair and changed government, and the NPP has lost and the NDC has come into office. The NDC is making those replacements that you were advocating for, and you're saying that there are too many. No. And let me assure you, I am one of those. I am one of those who have been advocating. That indeed the Supreme Court should have enough numbers so that we can have a northern bench. Because all litigants in the north, when they have to appeal, will have to come down to Accra. In the past, they could get access to justice in Kumasi. And then, you know, it means that litigation becomes more expensive for those of us who are from the north. Being a member of parliament representing the north, I have to continue advocating that we must have enough numbers so that if you have a southern bench, we can also have a northern bench. And then those of us who are practicing in the north can also have access to justice when we have to appeal cases. For me, the critical question at all times is, can our economy support it? And if we can show that the economy can support it, I don't have a problem with the process. I think on that note, we have committed ourselves to starting proceedings on time. People have been raising issues about how we start proceedings late in this house, and we don't want that to continue as a culture. But normally it is things like this that actually delay the process. You know, behind the scenes, there are a lot of activities taking place. And if some of the actors that must be there before we commence proceedings are not available, the speakers can't start. So as you see, leadership is here. So the front bench is not available. And so long as we remain in this room, the speaker you saw walked in to try and then nudge us to leave the place and come so that he can start proceedings on time. So we'll make it a culture to start proceedings on time. And also, we expect the media to also be with us on time so that we can start proceedings. So let me thank you very much for coming. Let me assure you that this is going to be a very busy meeting of Parliament. And all the things that I said we will do yesterday, and the things that the Speaker also promised that we will do, and others that, you know, my colleagues as parliamentarians will propose for us to do, will be done, and we expect consistent, good, reliable coverage from you as members of the media. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the leader. Leader, we are very grateful for the commendation, but for the records, the department is the Media Relations Department. Thank you very much. Honorable members, fellow colleagues from the press, unfortunately, because of the constraint of time, we will not be able to take questions.
You can do questions tomorrow. I don't mind. I can come back tomorrow for questions. So you can go and I think you all
around the same.
I will also, by tomorrow when we meet, I can actually, I have the cabinet memos, but they are confidential documents. So I need. Objective. No, no, this I don't intend to be covered.
Thank you very much, leader. All right, so we'll reconvene tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you very much. Kindly